So let's talk about the Apple Vision Pro. As if it wasn't bad enough that AI is taking over everything, Apple just came out with a pair of scuba goggles that now are going to let us enter the Matrix. I want to talk about ways that this is going to completely revolutionize the way graphic designers work. It's going to change what we're creating, what tools we use, and how we use them forever. So just picture this with me, imagine this. We get the scuba goggles and you put them on. This thing's already a computer. I don't think many people understand that, but it's got a computer chip in it already that's more powerful than this iMac right here. And this is the most expensive version you can buy. You control it using your eyes, so you just look around and it's scanning your eye movement, and you look at something and then you click it with your fingers. So you scroll, you click with your fingers, and it's watching your fingers using cameras on the front. But another underrated feature I don't think people are getting into is you can still use your keyboard and mouse, which I think is going to be really helpful for, first of all, just transitioning people to this. But as a graphic designer workflow, like the idea is you can pull up Photoshop in this screen, and now you can still use your standard workflow, but have all of the benefits of VR and AR. So continuing this idea, we put this thing on, you got your keyboard and mouse, you pull it up and there's Photoshop. But when you put it on, what you're seeing at first is just your actual reality. So it's almost like looking through a pair of glasses, like Google glasses. So really at that point, there's no big difference between looking at this screen in my reality than if I were looking at a virtual screen in my reality. But this is where it starts to get cool. So there's a scroll wheel on top. As you scroll the scroll wheel, more of your actual reality changes into a virtual reality. It could be the moon, it could be the Museum of Modern Art, it could be a frozen lake in Colorado or a New York skyscraper. Whatever is like inspiring to you, you can change that to be your environment. So that's a plus, that's an upgrade, especially when you start to consider art studios. I've worked out of multiple art studios in my life. I find them fun to have a place that's your own, that you get to go to. It separates work and home. But the downsides are they're expensive, you have to drive there, and sometimes it's not even going to be open. This is where the benefits of this world comes in. You don't have to drive to it, you don't have to pay for it. You're in your art studio, it's the same every time. Things are where you left them, so your canvas is over there that you've been working on and your other canvas is over here. It fits your personality perfectly. You create it to be what you need exactly. You can be in the crappiest apartment and put this thing on, and now you're in the highest end art studio fit for your needs. Now, whether you paint or you do graphic design or some other form of medium, the coolest thing about this, which I think is going to be the most revolutionary part, is you can make the canvas or the artboard whatever size you need it to be. Right now, I'm limited to this 24-inch screen, which is a big computer, but imagine when you're designing something a little bit bigger than a computer, like a poster or even a billboard. In this metaverse, you're able to take your canvas or artboard, scale it to any size you need it to be, and then work on it as if it's life size. So if I'm working on a billboard ad or a poster, I can make it that exact size, zoom out, and see what it actually looks like. Let's pretend like Google Maps Street View can be put into this VR world. And then you're looking at the building and you can almost fly up to it and now paint on the side of the building in VR. And now all of the tools that a digital artist uses, you have access to as a physical artist. Even though your medium might be watercolor or paint or spray paint, now you'll have access to an undo button and an eyedropper tool and select and stretch and transform as a physical artist. And then when your work's complete, maybe you take off the goggles and go paint it on the real side of the building or show your client what it could actually look like. Right now, when we design product packaging, we're able to put it in Photoshop and get some sort of idea of what that would look like in real life. It would be a game changer if you can see whatever product that you're designing, like let's say it's a bag of chips, and you have it in your hand and you can type on it with digital text and you can move it around and see what it looks like. Like I'm not even sure how to explain this idea. It's almost like the same way that if I had a piece of paper, I would draw on it. You can now digitally draw on your VR mock-up of your product and create a design right on the product itself. And if you're more of an artist, it comes to a point where you're displaying art in an art gallery without having to own an art gallery. I don't know if there's even any point to that, but the point is that you can. By being in a virtual world, you're getting opportunities and resources that you might never get in real life. I just think there's endless possibilities to what this is going to look like for both artists and designers, business people, and creatives in the future. As we move closer to a virtual world, things like billboards and murals and posters might not matter as much as compared to 3D animations and graphics and materials. I think traditional graphic design, like we see today, might be a completely different game. It's super hard to comprehend what this is going to look like in the future, but I do know that today there's already a ton of ways that this is going to change my workflow. Let me know in the comments below your predictions on how this is going to change what and why we design.